We're going to be talking about some serious stuff today. And rather than using discipline to raise your child, use love and teaching and knowledge. You cannot beat knowledge into their heads. You cannot beat hope into their hearts. You cannot beat kindness into someone. You can't just punish someone into becoming something great. But your words will. We're going to be talking about some serious stuff today. You got to be on your way up. Progress. Don't beat yourself up. You climb Mount Everest one step at a time. Progress. As long as you're making progress, you're good. Trust me, people. The greatest achievements in life take decades, sometimes a lifetime. Don't beat yourself up. Today, if you're just starting, you're going to be on your way up, step by step. We're going to go together. It's all about starting your journey. It's not about getting to the finish line. There's no finish line in life. It's about journey. It's about being the best you can be, not the best someone else wants you to be. Not what they think you ought to be. Anything you want to be, you decide to be that, you stay focused on it. Look in the mirror, start there, love yourself. Whatever you see in the mirror today, love yourself, because you're here. If you don't believe me, go drive by the cemetery and tell me, where would you rather be? Here or in the cemetery? Love yourself. Don't care what you look like. Care what's in here. Are you going to be on your way up? I don't care if you're 90. I have a patient that's 92 years old. I don't know if he's watching this. You still have life, you live it. If you're 3 years old, 5 years old, son is 5 years old. He's already learning about success. Just waiting on some more viewers. We're going to talk about something serious. I'm going to turn off the music here. Appreciate that. Hey, music is good stuff. God gave us music for a reason. It can affect your how you feel. I see people get up in the morning and turn on the news. The news. Tell me what good ever come out of the news. I get out of bed, the first thing I do is turn on my music. Depending on the mood I want to be in, so music is important. So here's a message today. Wednesday motivation. It's all about motivation. But I gotta listen to my viewers, good, bad, or ugly. And someone mentioned that, why don't I talk about some more stuff going on in Jamaica? So if you're Jamaican, you're gonna understand this. If you're not, I got something for you as well. This is not just gonna be a message on a small scale. So I want to talk about what happened in St. Thomas with the mom beating that child, her daughter, 13 years old, with a machete. Actually, there's a dog in the video. No one talked about the dog that she hit with a machete. Right? And what did the Jamaican government and the police do? They lock up the mother. So I want to hear what you feel about that. But I'm going to tell you what I feel. But beyond that, I'm going to talk about motivation and what's even worse than the beating that little girl got. So for all those viewers who don't know what I'm talking about, I have the video teed up. And I'm going to show you the video. So if you're ready, listen. If you've never seen a mother beating a child, this is going to be graphic, right? but I think you should watch it anyway. So I'm going to turn on the video. I want you to watch this. Let's see if we can do that. Alright, there it is. We're going to watch this. Alright, we're back. Now, I don't see any comments yet, but I know there was a lot of strong feelings in Jamaica about that. Let me get this video stopped here. Alright, I gotta set this up. So I see no comments yet, but I got something for you. Now, that's graphic. And for anyone on this show that got spanked by their parents, I did. It definitely brings it home. And on top of that, the mom then goes to jail. Now there are a lot of people commenting on that. Uproar. A lot of people saying a lot of things. But it's always good to get to the bottom of things before you just give your opinion, right? So I actually watched an interview with the daughter. And she had a lot of remorse. She obviously felt terrible that her mom is now in jail, like any daughter would. And we finally got to hear a little bit more about what led up to this, right? Which, it's always good to reserve judgment sometimes, actually every time. And it turned out that she feels her mother is a good mom. She feels that her mom is frustrated. And what led up to this was that the mom was talking to her and asked her to do something, and she refused to do it, right? Now, it appeared that the mom was naked because she was about to take a shower, and she decided to put on a whoop ass on her daughter. I then watched a video of the mom to hear what was her side. And she had a lot of remorse. She was happy that there's some people who supported her, but at the same time, she knows that this is not good, right? So let's spend a couple more minutes on this before I go into something worse to talk about than what I saw there. So the studies on spanking your child, if you look at across the board, there was a good study out of Yale, a PhD in psychology, Alan Kazman, who looked at a number of studies and summarized them. And the conclusion was, if you spank your child regularly, they become more aggressive, and that actually goes into adulthood, right? There's another study out of Texas that looked at 3-year-olds, and the same conclusion, that by the time they were 5, they were acting out a little bit more aggressively. Now that's the study that's out there. Those two studies, there are a couple more. But what I want to say to you, that these studies, like any study, need to be looked at in context beyond just the study itself. And in the case of spanking your child, I want to bring you back to the Bible, right? So I have a few verses teed up that I want to show you. Then I want to see what you think. And I believe that what happened in Jamaica? There's always a silver lining around a dark cloud, and that's what I'm going to focus on. I don't want to just focus on the negative. So let's go to the Bible and look at a few verses here. Let's see if we can see that. Trying to get this right. All right. First verse. Let's see here. Trying to get this big enough. Hebrews 12:7. Endure suffering as disciple. God is treating you as sons. For what son is not disciplined by his father? Deuteronomy 8:5. Thus you are to know in your heart that the Lord your God was disciplining you, just as a man disciplines his son. For whom the Lord loves, he reproves, even as the father corrects his son in whom he delights. Discipline your son while there is hope, and do not desire his death. Foolishness is bound up in the heart of a child. The rod of discipline will remove it far from him. Do not hold back discipline from the child. Although you strike him with the rod, he will not die. Do you want to hear any more? Let's go down a little bit. Here's one I'll end with. Correct your son, and it will give you comfort. It will also delight your soul. Now, I didn't hear anyone in Jamaica talking about how we're going to sit down with his mother and child, get to the bottom of this, and how we're going to look at the relationship between that mother and child to understand the context of what happened there. Why? And then, what is the silver lining for the country? What message are we going to send? What message did we send when we took this mom and put her in jail? Did we just satisfy all the people crying out for blood and punishment? So we have to look at ourselves as a nation. Any nation. Because anyone on here that's not Jamaican, this applies to everyone. We have greater crime against children than a mom beating her child. And if you think the machete is what makes it so hard to accept, that's not the reason. Here's a child that at 13 has gotten her mom so vexed that she grabbed, I assume, or at least from what I saw in the interviews, something to hit her child with. The machete was the rod. And the Bible said you should discipline your child. Now, I don't agree that mothers should be beating their child with a machete or with anything, especially at the age of 13. I believe that spanking a child before 5 years old, as a physician, I've done courses on psychology, is something I think, in the right context, is something every mom and every father has the right to consider. I think it's a mistake for you to try and reason with a child at 2 and 3 and 4 years old for certain infractions. Maybe the way they speak to you, maybe the way what they do. And so I believe that in the right context, punishment, whether it's spanking or whether it's taking away things from them that they love, But you have to look at disciplining your child. It's in the Bible and it makes sense. Discipline is something that you need to employ. But I don't think you should spank your child beyond 4 years old. I think at 4 years old, a child should be, you sit down with your child and you explain what they did and why they shouldn't do it. What are the consequences? And rather than using discipline to raise your child, use love and teaching and knowledge. And unfortunately for many of us, we don't have that ability. So we have to go out there and get it. Why does this vex me so much? That's because I don't see countries, any government, put in the effort and the resources to teach parents on any deliberate way as to how you discipline your child. I don't see that. You know, I go to PTA meetings. I don't see that as something that's on the agenda. I don't see, no one has ever brought me into anywhere and say, hey, now that you have children, let's talk about how you discipline them. What can you learn from other resources out there? So disciplining your child, like we just showed in the Bible, is something that you must do. But it starts young. You have to start with the tree while it's young. That's the time it can bend. At 13, it's very challenging to then try to discipline someone by beating them. So this is wrong across the board. But I want to talk about motivation here, and not just what happened in Jamaica. Because to lock up this lady is terrible. It doesn't send the right message, and this issue should not be swept under the rug with just locking her up. But there's something more here for Jamaica and for any country. The pen and words are mightier than the sword. The pen and words are mightier than the machete. We have generation and generation of children growing up in Jamaica that have no mentorship, that have no one talking to them about how to live, have no hope. What are they going to live for? Show me the ladder. Where's the ladder for me to climb? We have people talking to their spouses, talking to each other. I see it on the internet. Who to suck, and who to this, and who to that. The words we use are mightier than the machete that lady used to beat her daughter. I listened to that lady saying, I am tired of you. I am tired of her. I'm tired of her. She's frustrated. The entire country has a whole segment of it. There's a 25% unemployment rate. Over 700,000 people are squatting. People have no jobs. They have no hope. So the words that we use when we talk to each other, when we go on the internet, and someone is trying to help you with knowledge, and you're going to curse them out, and you're reveling in other people's misfortune, and you talk about people in ways that are demeaning. If your spouse tomorrow has an idea, want to do something well, and you talk them out of it, that's worse than beating them with a machete. Your words are the strongest weapon that you have. So we are beating up our kids across the world with our words, with lack of encouragement. We're giving no hope with how we speak. How about that? How about locking people up who are setting the conditions for our kids to fail, for our kids to go to prison? How many kids die in Jamaica and in the world in poor areas because they have no access to health care? I go to Jamaica and the parents tell me about their kids dying of meningitis, and they thought dumping caused it, because they don't understand that your kid has certain symptoms, you need to get to the hospital and not sit in the waiting room for 24 hours. How many kids are dying while we stand aside and look? Bob Marley said that. So when we jump up because we see something graphic and we have no limits to what we can comment on the internet about, we can say anything we want, and to see some of the foul language coming out of our people's mouth, that is mightier than the machete. How many of us would go to that community and go talk to the parents? Go talk to the kids about why they should be disciplined. Go give them some hope. Show me a ladder. I came out of Buff Bay. One parent, my mom. My mom whooped my ass, and most of the time she did it, I don't think she had a good reason. I was not happy with it. So I'm telling you right now, stop beating your kids. You cannot beat knowledge into their heads. You cannot beat hope into their hearts. You cannot beat kindness into someone. You can't just punish someone into becoming something great. But your words will. You tell that kid in kindergarten that they can be great, they'll remember that. You kiss and hug a kid every time they do something good, they will love you and remember that. You don't know what encouragement. I used to dance quadrille and maypole at Buff Bay Primary, my sister and I. That was the only way we could get out of the town. You know what the experience was every time you shake a leg and someone said to you, Kingsley, boy, you baddie. You know what that did to me, people? That did to me, that tell me I can do something good. You know, every time I scored a goal and the guys would tell me, boy, wicked goal, you know what it did to me? You can't beat that into me. You can't beat that into kids. But who's standing up on the podium and talking for our kids who won't have any hope tomorrow? Who, if they get an appendicitis, will die before they get to the hospital? Who will defend them? Who will stand up on the podium and fight for the single mothers like my mom? $50 a week at Miss Ivy's shop. That's criminal. Who's going to speak for the single moms who we leave to raise our kids, who we leave to raise our boys and our girls in the ghetto? You live on the hill, you live in the United States, in England, everywhere, and you get on the internet and you go off about how you should murder people because you think that everyone down there is criminal? Or you should put a woman into jail because she beat her daughter with a machete? How about speaking for the kids who have no hope tomorrow? How about going down there and helping those single mothers who are frustrated every day? How about that? How about the leadership getting up on the podium and say encouraging words? Uplift people. And I say this to you today. Punishment is never going to help us get anywhere in life. Do not beat your kids past 4. If you beat your kids and they're young, just use your hand and slap them on their buttocks. You don't need to bruise them. I'll tell you this. I'll leave it with this. You remember the story. A father got frustrated with his son. And he said, son, every time you say a bad word, every time you do something that I don't like, I want you to take a nail and put it in the fence. And so every time the kid does that, the father didn't spank him. He said, son, go put the nail into the fence. Kid kept doing it. Then one day the father said, go take all those nails out of the fence. And when he did, one by one, he said to the kid, what do you see? Kid laughed and said, Dad, I see a lot of holes in the fence. And he said, that's my point, son. Every time you say a bad word, every time you do something bad that I could spank you for, it puts a hole in my heart. And even if I forgive you, it still leaves that hole. So when you say things to people, when you hurt other people, when the leadership ignores what's going on to people and they're suffering every day, and they do this, they're putting nails all through the walls of Jamaica or any country. And when you take those nails out, the holes are still there. And today, there are holes all over our country. Holes all over many of our single moms that are left to raise kids. This is Dr. Peace out. Appreciate anyone who viewed me today. Follow and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Prove Yourself TV, to get more proven success tips.